Today on Monkey Life, Oshine has problems when she undergoes a health check.
No, I can't see a lot of breathing, mate.
Patas monkey Meza is reluctant to go outside.
Her world has been that small cage, so she might be a little bit agoraphobic.
And girls just want to have fun. Kiki and Trudy are new best friends. Monkey World in Dorset is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate unwanted and abused primates from all over the world.
Have you packed your stuff? Got your favourite comics and everything?
The park is home to more than 240 monkeys and apes. The aim is to give them as natural a life as possible. Oshine has been at the park for a year now. She was rehomed from South Africa, where she'd been kept as a pet. Normally, primates are given medical checks when they arrive, but Oshine was clinically obese, and staff couldn't risk putting her under sedation. Instead, they put her on a strict health regime to try to get her weight down from 100 kilos.
Come on, gorgeous. Good girl.
And at her last weigh-in, they'd succeeded.
And we're at 80 kilos bang on.
So they've decided the time is right to do those very important tests. At the park's hospital, the veterinary team are making plans to anaesthetise Oshine. Despite her weight loss, they're still worried. Anaesthetics always carry risks.
She does have issues. She still is a very large female orangutan, probably about twice the weight most adult female orangutans should be. That gives us a few anaesthetic issues. The weight of the fat in the abdomen presses on the diaphragm, the division between the chest and the abdomen, and it stops the lungs filling properly. Not only that, if you turn them on their back, all that blubber sits on and squashes the main vein returning blood to the heart. So we have to knock her out and then position her so that the weight of the guts falls towards her legs and her chest can expand and that blood vessel isn't compressed.
Oshine's badly affected by her menstrual cycle, often becoming moody and withdrawn. So while she's under anaesthetic, John is also planning to give her a contraceptive implant to try and regulate her hormones.
We took the opinion of a human gynecologist on this, and they were saying a lot of overweight women also have a lot of severe period pains. He was expecting it to improve somewhat when the weight is further reduced, so we are going to shut that down for about 12 months.
Instead of taking her to the hospital, the team have decided to carry out the procedure in Oshine's bedroom to avoid any unnecessary stress. The other orangs in the nursery are keen to know what's going on. John and the park's vet, Mike Nathan, are preparing the anaesthetic outside so that Oshine doesn't see them.
We'll knock her out in a bedroom, we'll do the procedure in a bedroom, we'll wake her up in a bedroom. It'll be a bit of a squidge for us, but that's not the primary concern, really. I think it'd be better for her and quicker.
Oshine is being given the injection by hand rather than darting her. Like all the primates at the park, she has regular injection training to prepare her for days like this. Staff use a clicker. If she presents the right part of her body, she gets a click and a treat. Once Oshine is unconscious, the procedure can begin.
Hold on to that. That's it.
Animal director Jeremy is assisting. John checks her airway. He's becoming concerned about her breathing.
No, I can't see a lot of breathing, mate.
He decides it's too dangerous for her to lie flat. He needs to move her.
That's good. What I want to do is basically turn her through 90 degrees. Keep the head roughly in the same position.
Do it at the back of her arm, maybe.
Head back. More woodwork. Yes. Try that. Try that. Try leaning back. That's it.
With Oshine in a more upright position, they check her breathing again. John continues to monitor her.
That's the position she was in initially. She wasn't actually able to breathe at all. Mike, can you do the implant?
The contraceptive implant is inserted just underneath Oshine's skin. It's difficult for everyone to work in such a confined space. They take some blood so they can carry out tests to make sure Oshine has no underlying health problems. With all the tests complete, John gives Oshine an injection to reverse the effects of the anesthetic. This is a critical stage of the procedure. Oshine has to be in the correct position to make sure her breathing is not restricted when she comes round. Jeremy will stay with Oshine until she's fully awake. Something unusual has happened at Hananya's enclosure. The boys are nowhere to be seen, and the girls are making the most of it. Without the rowdy males, the girls can have some fun without having to watch their backs. They set off on a patrol of the perimeter fence. Once they've checked out the neighborhood, they start to chill out. New girl Kiki, who was recently rescued from the Lebanon, has settled into the group well and has become particularly good friends with chimp Trudy.
Trudy and Kiki get on really well. The first time they met, really, they seemed drawn to each other. Trudy is a nice, fun-loving animal, and she's obviously a lot smaller than the rest. She's got quite a special status within the group, where she doesn't seem to get involved too much in the politics, but she's never picked on either. So, you know, I think she's a nice, safe friend to have, and someone that's a good way of bringing you into the group.
Like Kiki, Trudy led a very lonely existence before she came to the park more than 10 years ago. She was rescued after being badly abused by a circus trainer.
We've seen Trudy and Kiki have some really great play sessions, and that's a nice side of chimp behaviour, I think, that we don't always see. So it's good when two animals bond and they seem to gel, that, you know, they have really good fun together. Play is a really important part. I mean, you obviously see it with the younger chimps in terms of sort of testing their strength and their boundaries and their abilities. But I think with the adults, it's some downtime where you're not worrying about the hierarchy of the group and sort of letting your hair down, so to speak, really. Obviously, it was something that Kiki was denied when she was on her own. So, you know, having that physical contact is really important. You often see the two of them moving around the outside enclosure, even hand-holding, and I'm not sure who's leading who, but obviously it's good for Kiki to have people that she feels very comfortable with as she explores her new home and gets to grips with all the fun that it has to bring.
But all good things come to an end. The boys are back and start to liven things up. Leader Hananya decides he wants to play with Kiki.
You've seen Hananya play with Kiki, and it's a great way to distract those males if they're being a bit full on. A good play session can distract them and bring out their softer natures. It's great that he's doing that with Kiki so early on, because she did struggle a little bit with him at the beginning and with the other males winding her up. So she seems to have gone through that process a bit quicker than some of the other animals that we've introduced into this group.
Valerie, who's normally one of his favourites, tries to woo him away, but today he only has eyes for the new girl. That is, until food appears. He's soon distracted, leaving Kiki and Trudy free to carry on where they left off. At the Siamang Gibbon house, there's finally some good news. Alison has found a new mate for Sam. He's been living on his own since his son Onion tragically died after the veterinary team found an inoperable tumour in his gut.
This looks bad, Alison.
That's all right.
Yeah, I'm very sorry.
It was particularly sad for Sam, as he also lost his partner Sage a couple of years ago.
When I first started looking for a companion for Sam, you know, I sort of first called around local zoos and wildlife parks just to see if they had any individuals that would be appropriate pairing for him. So in my mind, I had, in an ideal situation, a female that's the same age as him, so that they sort of spend their end of days together, because he's getting older now. And finally, actually, I came up with the ideal companion, I hope. It's a female who's 18, 19 years old, so a similar age to Sam. And she's currently living at Dublin Zoo, so not that far away either.
Sam's new friend is called Sasak.
The female who's coming here is already with a partner and one of her offspring. And that pair bond will be sort of cut short quite sharply because they don't want her breeding anymore. And she'll be sent here to be with Sam. He's got a vasectomy. There'll be no more babies. And that will be quite a short, sharp transition for her, whereas Sam's transition has been perhaps more like it would be in the wild, where there's a period where he'll be on his own, actively, potentially looking for a mate, and therefore quite keen to meet a new lady.
Sasak will make the journey across the Irish Sea to Dorset in the next couple of weeks.
He's been trying to tell the world if there are any ladies out there, and we've been able to help him out and track down a lady, so it's only going to be a matter of time now before we can get Sasak over here to meet up with Sam, and then hopefully they'll be able to live out their days together.
There's been a commotion at the lemur enclosure. The group led by Fennel and Kaya have been making rather a lot of noise. Out in their tree-filled enclosure, they're always on the alert for any forms of danger, just as they would be in the wild.
They do what's known as an alarm call, and this is seen if there's something that they feel threatened by. So in the wild, it would be predators or maybe other lemur groups that are encroaching on their territory. Obviously, we don't have those same threats here at Monkey World. So they would alarm call at things like buzzards, maybe a snake or a lizard that they don't particularly know what it is. We also have deer that walk around the fence line quite a lot as well. Most mornings you'll see the deer. That's not something they're really familiar with out in Madagascar, so they see them as a threat. They're quite big as well.
In the wild, there are nearly 100 species of lemurs. At the park, there are just 2. The ringtails, recognised by their distinctive tails, and one ruffed lemur called Blue.
She's a bit of a character. She's the only one that we've got of her type now. She doesn't get on with the ringtail that well. They sort of tolerate each other, but I wouldn't call them friends as such. They don't groom, they don't spend any time together, but they occupy the same space, if you like.
However, when there are signs of danger, Blue sticks with the ringtails.
If she hears the ringtails alarm calling, she'll come over and she'll actually join in with them as well. So this is their territory, even though they're not really a whole group because you've got the 2 different species, but they do all come together for that alarm call to defend their territory.
In Madagascar, the different species of lemurs all live in slightly different environments. The enclosure at the park tries to replicate their natural habitat as much as possible.
It's as near to what they would find in the wild as we can provide, really. It's just a piece of forest. There's trees, there's foliage where they can forage. We provide food for them, but all day you'll see them foraging on the leaves in the trees, and they'll eat the bark and things like that. So yeah, I think it's fabulous for them, and they can just behave in as much of a natural way as possible, really.
At the Orang nursery, Oshine is waking up after her anaesthetic.
Will she sit up, Jeremy? Because she's not going to breathe desperately well like that.
Because Jeremy has such a good relationship with Oshine, he's able to stay with her.
It was me, I'm the bad guy.
It's a rare luxury, really, because the majority of orangutans, or apes for that matter, you wouldn't tolerate somebody in there with them. Oshine's a bit different given her history, and it's terribly convenient for us that you can do that. We can watch her move around a bit more and her colour, etc., because if we'd just left her, there's every chance she'd curl up in the corner and that would be it. And you just see a ball of orangutan, difficult to assess. So this is actually very good.
Oshine is woozy from the effects of the drugs. John is always anxious at this point of a procedure.
You have to be a little bit careful about this. This is called recovery phase. And in my career, I've lost 3, all in recovery, all at this time. They come round, or they apparently seem to come round, and then they crash. So it's not 100% safe period.
Finally, with Jeremy's help, Oshine finds her feet.
There we go.
She's bewildered by all the fuss, but makes the most of being with Jeremy.
That's pretty.
A few more whiffs of oxygen seem to do the trick. Now she's up and about, her new friend baby Sylvester is allowed to visit.
Sylvester, come on, buddy. Good boy.
Oshine is enjoying all the attention. She's now having her hands oiled. This is a regular treatment the orangs have to keep their skin in good condition.
Good girl. We've kept a closer eye on Oshine today, just to check that she is eating and drinking well. She's really happy to be back with Sylvester. She's pretty much back to her usual self now.
The park's first ever patas monkeys, Meza and Sissy Joe, are being allowed out into their new enclosure for the first time. Meza was recently rescued from Slovenia, where she'd been kept as a pet. Sissy Joe came from a sanctuary in Cornwall. Until now, they've been kept inside to give them a chance to get used to their new surroundings.
Today we thought we'd try and relax things a little bit more and let them outside into their new outdoor area for the very first time. So it'll be very interesting to see because, you know, Meza really hasn't had the ability to move around freely for more than 3 years now. And both of them are in an entirely new environment. So it'll be interesting to see who's the bravest, who gets on with things, and who leads the way.
Sissy Joe is unfazed and calmly begins to explore. She seems to have had no problems settling into her new home.
We were a little bit worried about how she would adapt and whether she'd be frightened of men. Apparently she's a little bit skittish in the wind, all of these different things. But to be quite honest, you can see, you know, I've not known her that long. She's very happy walking on past me. It is a blustery day. Doesn't seem to be a problem with that. And she's getting around and exploring her new home. So it's really nice to see, and I'm hoping that Meza will sort of see that she's quite calm and relaxed about everything and take her lead and come out nice and slow.
But Meza is more reluctant. She's had a lot to deal with over the last few weeks. Leaving her home and getting used to a new life with another patas monkey. She was kept in a cage in Slovenia because her owner couldn't handle her.
Her world has been that small cage for 3 years, so she might be a little bit agoraphobic. So I'm hoping that, you know, Meza will take her time, but that she will get used to coming outside and follow Sissy Joe's lead very quickly. It will be only a matter of time because I said this about Meza when I first met her. You can see that she's a very stubborn and potentially spoiled lady. And I don't think there's any way on this planet that she's going to allow Sissy Joe to take control of this outside domain without having an opinion about it. So She's holding back right now, but I think it's only a matter of time.
Finally, Meza decides to give it a go. She spots Sissy Joe and immediately starts grooming.
Grooming is actually a really social behaviour for all primates. It creates bonds within individuals throughout the group, and it also encourages the trust, which is really important as well. And the more that they groom, the closer that they become together. So the more grooming we see, the better it is for them. I think slowly is the way forward with these, and obviously we can just learn by their behaviour whether they're enjoying each other's company or whether they actually want a bit of space from each other, and we'll just go from that, and if they feel confident then so will we, and we'll just gradually keep them together for longer until they then are together full time. It's been a bit of a bumpy road, but we're definitely getting there, so fingers crossed.